All right, let's take you back to the big story making international news this Wednesday. Nearly 8,000 people now being confirmed dead following twin earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. Rescue teams are still combing through the rubble to find survivors. Various countries have also sent medical teams and humanitarian aid to the affected areas. So this morning, we'll unpack what makes that part of the world so prone to earthquakes. In fact, we're joined by Professor Andrzej Kijko, who is with the Natural Hazard Center at the University of Pretoria. Prof, it's great to see you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning. And that's the big question, right? What does make that part of the world so prone to seismic events?
Well, the strong earthquakes, they were, they are, and they will be. Why this earthquake was so strong? Earthquakes usually occur on the borders of the tectonic plates. And this is a very unhappy place. It is triple junction of three plates. It's Anatolian, it's Turkish, Arabian plates, and African plates. Mm-hmm. And the plates are moving. They're moving. So moving, it means the stress is building up, and the stress must be released. Release stress, it means earthquake.
So, Prof, when we talk about a 7.8 magnitude quake, we understand that the tremors were detected as far away as the United Kingdom. What does that tell us about the strength of this quake?
Okay, for comparison, it was many times stronger than energy released by atomic bomb drop on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So we are talking about a monster if you are talking about the energy. Such earthquakes usually we have, if you are lucky or unlucky, once per year. But we usually, the news, they are not in the news because they are in some remote area. Mm. What happened here, that this earthquake, such earthquake, it took place in very densely populated area. But from the opposite side, we are not surprised that this area is known, as I said, because it is junction of the three tectonic plates. If you look on the historical records of seismicity of this area, we have, for instance, in 1939, a comparable earthquake. So Turkish area, this area in general is known. Iran area, they are known from very strong earthquakes. Mm. But a few things which make this earthquake particular. Well, it was very strong. It was strong once, but we have so seldom such earthquake. The second one, why it created such a big damage, it is because of it was shallow. The shallow earthquakes, they are creating very big effect on the surface. Well, surface, it means the infrastructure. So the third factor was that we have very strong aftershock. Mm. It was 5.2. So comparable actually with the main event. So it was really very unlucky coincidence.
And we can see the strength of exactly what you're describing when we look at the images coming from that region, and we see those buildings effectively being reduced to dust.
Well, it's years will be needed to actually to recover from such a disaster. And that's clear.
Yeah, and Prof, I understand that even the aftershocks, maybe they won't be physically felt, but they do continue for some years after an event like this.
Exactly. Yes, we will. The good couple of years, if not 10 years, we will observe them. They will be. They're supposed to be weaker and weaker, but as we see, it's no guarantee that the aftershocks are really significantly weaker. Just after this magnitude 7.5 took place just a good couple of hours after the main shock, and it is surprising for us. Rule, as I say, it's a statistical rule, is that the largest aftershocks is roughly 1 unit of the magnitude weaker than the main event. But this one is comparable. But just for comparison, we are talking magnitude 6, magnitude 7, and we have to realize that the 1 unit of the magnitude of earthquake in terms of release energy means 32 times. So if I make mistake, say, well, this earthquake was actually magnitude 6, but it was 7, I make mistake in terms of the release energy and effect 32 times. It's a logarithmic scale.
Yeah.
So it's this is the 7.5 aftershocks. Actually, it can create enormous damage comparable with the main shock.
Absolutely. So, Prof, given what you've just outlined to us about this region, about these 3 tectonic plates and why this region is so prone to seismic events of this nature, what do you know about early warning systems and whether they did kick in ahead of this event?
Okay, I'm skeptical about that. Well, it's not I'm only skeptical. Cut it in short, we are not in current situation. Our knowledge, scientific knowledge, is not enough to predict earthquakes. We are not in position to predict earthquake. I will just a bit unpack it. Prediction earthquakes, it means that I will tell tomorrow at 3:30 it will be earthquake of magnitude 3 or 7 in Johannesburg. So what I said the area, I said how strong was earthquake, will be earthquake, and the time. Let me say, we know because of this junction of the plates, we know the position of the plates, we know the movement event plates, we know how much energy is accumulated just because of the movement. So we know the area where future earthquakes will take place, roughly speaking. We know. It is on the border of the plates. Much more difficult is to tell us about the energy, because it can be 5 earthquakes of magnitude 6, or it can be 1 earthquake of magnitude 7. So we are not in position to say, well, this energy will be released as a 1 big event or 10 weaker event. So that's a second. And the third one, we are almost impossible to say when it will happen. There are some successful trials in seismology when we are so evident some changes of the level of the waters, name it. It's many geophysical parameters, but we are talking about the absolutely exceptional cases. So finishing the subject, I will say only one. We are not in position to predict earthquake.
Wow. It's such an important conversation, Prof. Andrzej, Kijko, let me thank you for your time this morning. We have run out of time for our conversation, but wow, so many important statements coming from your analysis this morning. The Prof is with the University of Pretoria and its Natural Hazard Center. 2 things that we are actually not in a position to predict seismic events of this nature, and also that these quakes in Turkey and Syria are stronger than the atomic bombs of Nagasaki. Incredible. And it's a story that we're still tracking for you this morning.